if we're on Facebook anymore. And I said, well, since we're recording on the cloud now and posting it on YouTube, I haven't been going on Facebook, but some people are kind of on Facebook and used to watching it there, and they don't understandably want to surf around on YouTube looking for the video. So anyhow, welcome. I'm happy to see all of you tonight. And this is our lecture night. And tonight I'd like to talk about, and I was going to talk about, it's interesting. You know, we know we all have a birth certificate, but we certainly don't have a death certificate. And it's interesting that one of our members here was talking about having attended his former wife, a long-term marriage. She passed and he attended her service. And then another member was sharing about someone who they had some contact with who has a drinking problem and, you know, was going to go to get some help and then refused to get the help. And, you know, it's interesting because the Course teaches us that we actually choose our death. We do that when we listen to the voice of the ego, because most of, you know, aside from just living a full life where your body eventually is going to just say, time for a new one, just like a car. But if you take care of it, you know, you'll get a lot of mileage out of it. And the ego, though, it you know, it doesn't realize and it doesn't remember that we actually do have a death certificate, and we don't know when that time is going to be. So the ego will convince us that, you know, go ahead and eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, do whatever you want. Who cares what the consequences are? You deserve it. You enjoy it. And of course, as we've talked about many times, the minute that you listen to that voice of the ego, it will also turn on you and then beat you up for it. Now, this is probably why some people who have really good genes, there was a really kind of famous guy who, you know, he was, I think, 96 or something. They said, you know, how did you, you know, how do you stay in such good shape for so long? Because he's still real active. And he said, you know, I drank two tall glasses of bourbon every day, have 3 ice cream cones and fried chicken or some crazy thing like that, you know, like all the bad things. But, you know, when you're coming from love and you have a good genetic structure, the body will tolerate a lot. But, you know, that's really not how our bodies are designed. Just like your car isn't designed to run on leaded if it needs unleaded gas. Our bodies are really designed to live off of, you know, things that are more natural and not the things that we have become so unconsciously addicted to, and things that are made in such a way to trigger that part of our brain that the minute that sugar or that alcohol or that you know, endorphin rush occurs, that the brain is triggered to want more of it. You know, so we are very innocent in that respect, but at the same time, there is a price to pay over time. And so this really isn't what I want to talk about tonight, you know, making that kind of mistake. But what I do want to talk about is how the ego really gives us a sense of amnesia when it comes to the fact that we all do have a time limit here. And the Course tells us that really time isn't so much the issue, other than to appreciate it, because it is a resource, and it is in the sense of our bodies, the time is a disposable resource, as our bodies are. And so we would want to stay in the place of love and to remember that every day is a gift, and you don't know when your last day is. You don't know the date on your certificate of death. So not to be living in fear by any means, but to stay in that place of self-love, so that if today is the day, that you can leave in peace. You know, Kim was talking about earlier that the family member who died of cancer. And we know that, cancer is a form of kind of being eaten alive. It's also a form of, not taking care of the body, but also to be, that you stay in a toxic state of consciousness. I am a cancer survivor, so what I'm talking about applies to myself as well. And really, what we can do with this information is to motivate us to learn how to choose love rather than fear. Because when we are choosing love, we do stay in a calm state. We do stay in a peaceful state. So that if today is the day, you're ready. How many of us can say we're ready? I mean, who's ever really 100% ready? But there's a difference between being like 100% ready and like, if you have to face that today's the day, are you okay with that? Like, are you at peace? Because being at peace is the most important thing. And it's the one thing that your ego definitely doesn't want you to experience. The ego is constantly basing everything on fear. Like I have to protect my life at all costs. And that alone creates such a level of anxiety and fear that we're doing the very thing, being directed by the ego, we're doing the very thing that's making our health lessened rather than heightened. So where we want to go with all this is to learn how to live in such a state of peace every day, to let go of our grievances, that we've experienced the gift of forgiveness. And don't forget that forgiveness isn't about other people so much as it is letting go of our own sense of self-judgment. Because as the Course teaches us, under every resentment towards someone else is really lack of forgiveness on ourselves. And that's a whole separate topic, which I'm not going to delve into tonight. But you want to be able to know that you've come here, you've lived, you mission accomplished. And the Course teaches us we're here to share and receive love. That's why we're here. That's all of us are on that mission. And that doesn't mean share and receive love with me, myself, and I. It means sharing love with you. That there is no separation. There's no individuality. We're all one. So it doesn't mean that it expects us to try and force someone to love us that doesn't want to be loved, but to be, because love will find itself, but to be that conduit for love, that you are willing to receive it from other people and you are willing to share it with other people. And that you're not willing to hang on to fear. You're not willing to hang on to resentments, that you let go of those things and you trust. And you trust the voice of love, which is the voice of the Holy Spirit. And you learn to listen to that. And the more that you listen to that voice of love, the more peace that you have. That is the miracle. The Course teaches us that the miracle is the change in perception. And so we learn to listen to that voice. It's not easy to do. I've had a real estate issue that I've been dealing with for the past couple of weeks. And the ego kept saying, do this, do that, call this, make that, and the voice of the Holy Spirit was saying, just step back and let God lead the way. Stay out of it. Don't get involved. And, so it's that daily living. It's that daily living. Like, what channel are we plugged into? Are we plugged into the channel of life that keeps us stirred up inside and robs us of peace and keeps that angst going? That's the voice of the ego. And it's always looking for a channel to watch, a channel to plug into, a new misery, a new grievance, a new issue. It's nonstop. It will always find something. And this is what makes advertising and TV so compelling, because there's always tension. There's always a conflict. There's always something that's not good. And so we want to, we're compelled to try to get to that happy ending. But the happy ending doesn't come from the outcome of the story. The happy ending comes from us learning that our ego, as soon as that problem is solved, is going to find another one. And so the happy ending that we're all searching for comes from learning how to be at peace no matter what. That is when your life goes way beyond this moment, and it goes way beyond your future, because you don't know how much future you have, and you certainly can't take back the past. You can definitely heal whatever has anchored you back to the past. You can heal that so that you're free to be here now. But in terms of the future, like we said, you don't know how long that is. We have no idea. We know of people, Skip and I lost a very close friend, age 59. She wasn't a very healthy person, so it wasn't totally shocking, but you never know. And then you know people that are in their 90s and hundreds who might live 10 more years. You don't know. So you need to, the course would invite us that this is the day that you have, and this is the only day that you have. So how do you want to spend that day? Do you want to spend that day being all agitated, charged up, anxious, and fearful? Or do you want to spend that day waking up with a smile on your face, going about your day, sharing and receiving love, helping other people, letting people have you, enjoying their company, having nice conversations, do like Mary does and do favors for people, or like Cindy offering to help this person who's suffering. I mean, every day, as Kim says, we can wake up and say, what are we doing today, God? How can I serve you today? And when we're in that consciousness, it's not about me. Now the ego wants to make it all about me. What am I going to do for me today? And there's no joy and happiness in just me. It has to be shared, whether we share it with our new babies, where we share it with the people in the grocery store, where we share it at the post office, where we share it in this Course in Miracles, where we share it with our business associates, our clients. There's just an overwhelming abundance of love within you that wants to be expressed, and love will find itself. So this is where we want to go in our lives, not into the ego's den of, oh my God, so many bad things are happening, the world is falling apart, and my world is falling apart, and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. No, that is not why we're here. We're here to share and receive love. So when we stay in that place and we listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit that says, don't go there, leave it alone. Or when we aren't feeling happy because something sad has happened, that we rid ourselves of that sorrow. We don't hang on to it. We allow it to cleanse us out through our tears. Or when we're feeling any type of emotion, we allow ourselves to get it out. And then we replace that with forgiveness, with peace, with joy. And then we go back about the business. This is the day that you have. This is the only day that you have. And do you want to use that? It's kind of like if you think about time like money, like you have $1 million and you're going to spend $100,000 a day, or you're going to share and receive that money with whoever you can, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. Or do you want to just deplete it and then you're empty all day long, and then you got to find fake ways to fulfill yourself? It's the same thing. Love has no lack. There is only abundance of love. And each and every one of us has this God-given space of our spirit within us that only wants to share and receive love. But it's not going to intrude upon you. It will never, ever, ever take away your free will. And it will never tell you how many days you have left. Because today really is the only day that you have left. You have no guarantee of tomorrow. So when today is the only day that you have left, it changes your perception, doesn't it? It makes it something valuable, something to be treasured. It's a gift, and to appreciate all that you have and all that's around you, and to know that whoever you come in contact with, there is a holy counter there. Every encounter is a holy encounter, as the Course teaches us. So when we change this perception from how bad is the day going to be, or what am I going to get out of it for me, to how can I share and receive love today, then you have that peace. Then you have that joy. The suffering, you don't have time for it because you forgot to suffer. You forgot to watch the channel that makes you feel bad because you're too busy enjoying yourself and feeling good. And when you're doing that, you're living the Course. You're living out of the place of love. You're listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit. You're not listening to the other side that's covered up in guilt and anger and upset, which really is just fear. The fear that things aren't going the way you think they should, or the fear that something's wrong, or the fear that everything should be different than it is, or you're bad and I'm bad and we're all bad, or you're bad and I'm not bad, or I'm bad and you're not. And just this constant turmoil that the ego keeps us in. I'm guilty or you're wrong, And so underneath that is the fear that there's no love. Well, there's love wherever love is welcome. The Course tells us that over and over and over again. You don't get love, love will find itself. So if you are the love that you want, you will find the love. That's the frequency in which you are attracting love, that you are there to share it, and so you are opening up to receive it. But the ego doesn't want us to do that. The ego wants us to live in this box and to see everything wrong with the inside of the box in which we live. And that is why when you get out of the box, and whoever or in whatever form you share that love, and like I said, wherever you are is the opportunity to share and receive love. It's there all the time, all around you. It could be the waiter, it could be the customer, it could be someone in a parking lot. Wherever you are, there are the opportunities to share and receive love. And when you wake up in the morning and you go to sleep at night with that consciousness, you really stop worrying about whether or not you're going to die. Because if you're worrying about when you're going to die all the time, you are not living. That is not why you're here. You are here to share and receive love. So think about this during the next couple weeks. Think about, how are you experiencing your life? Are you limiting yourself? Are you staying bottled up in fear? Are you worried about your death? Are you worried about getting something? Stop and recognize that's all ego. That's all ego trying to stir the pot, trying to keep you up in an uptight state. Just listen to that voice of love that says you are safe, you are protected, and you are here for one reason, and one reason only: to be loved, to be loved, and to share and receive the love. That's all there really is. Everything else is, as the Course teaches us, the illusion of the ego. All you have to do is look out the window. It's beautiful. If it's raining, it's beautiful. Right now, it's beautiful at the dusk here in Florida. So that's not changing. That's the certainty you can tap into within yourself, that your Holy Spirit is always there for you. And all you have to do is listen to it and recognize how the ego is telling you so much, so frequently, and it's never about how to be and receive love. So try this next couple of weeks to just really tune in to those two parts of you, because we all have them. And it's not like good and bad and right and wrong. The Course goes out of its way to remove judgment from our behavior. It's simply here to teach us you can choose this, and you can stay in a state of panic and fear and worry and discontent and isolation, or you can choose this and just know that your death certificate's already written, whether you know it or not. Love yourself, be the love that you want, and that will create the greatest sense of physical and mental health that you could want. And you have to make those choices of what feels like love to you and what feels like fear to you. And that is not the same necessarily for everybody involved, because everybody is a unique individual. But one thing that is the same for all of us, it's always the choice between fear or love. So do you want to be at peace? Do you want to be able to be on the exit end of this experience here, of this playground of life, and know that you loved, and you loved with every part of you? Or do you want to exit saying, oh, wait, I'm not ready yet. I meant to do that. That's how you want to treat each and every day of your life, as if it's the last, and to be filled with that love, and to be filled with the gratitude, and to be able to share and receive and live and love and play. That's all that I have to say tonight. And thank you so much for joining me. We're now going to stop the recording. We'll open it up for discussion.